Southend-on-Sea, home to a long pier, a wide beach and a very big spender, Tim Fenn.
I'm Tim Fenn, 29, and I am a landscape gardener and a club promoter.
Tim's racked up £40,000 worth of debt over the last 8 years on shopping, champagne and big nights out.
Yeah, I like a bottle of champagne, Laurent Perrier, for a cliché. I just like the way it tastes. But you only get 6 glasses out of the bottle, don't you? Before you know it's gone.
With the bank now threatening to chop him off, Tim's neck is on the line. Time to cue the experts, Jay Hunt and Benjamin Fry. Will they be able to get Tim financially sober in just 5 weeks?
I'm just about to borrow some money off someone. Cheers, Dan. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
The unusual combination of 2 jobs, gardening and club promoting, pulls in £700 a week. But Tim's spending much more than that on fast living and large nights. He has 5 weeks to change his spendthrift ways. To help Tim get a grip on his wallet, lifestyle expert Jay Hunt is on hand with some money-saving solutions.
Yeah. And if you can sort of start to like those rather than designer names branded across the front, then, you know...
And psychological coach Benjamin Fry will be tackling Tim's emotional balance sheet.
Deep down, I reckon it's because I wonder whether I ever will make enough money.
Before congregating with Tim, Benjamin and Jay have bagged the keys to his flat, hoping to pick up some clues to Tim's hedonistic lifestyle. Tim shares his home and his love of the high life with best mate Mark. But Mark owns the property as well as a construction business, bringing in £5,000 a week. Mark's flashy red sports car overshadows Tim's 3-year-old BMW that he's still paying off. And it's the same story inside the flat.
Oh, look. It's quite interesting, though, because he's 29 and this is Mark's pad.
This looks very much like Mark's equipment as well, all very expensive.
It's quite boys' toys, isn't it?
Clean.
Look.
Yeah. I don't get any immediate sense of Tim's presence in this house. Tim Fenn.
It must be really weird doing these two... So, do you know what I mean? Like getting up after a club night, going and doing his gardening, and then suddenly he's back being Tim club promoter.
I think he's failing to juggle those successfully.
At the beginning, the clubs made me more money, but then now the landscape makes me more than the clubs. Really, ideally, it should be one or the other, really.
Oh, look, that must be Mark's room with his ensuite.
Nice telly, ensuite, double bed, leather.
Swanky.
Nice.
This must be Tim's.
Oh, God.
No. Look.
I actually had a bed like that, and it was too small for my 2-year-old son.
Imagine if you came back here.
It's hard for me, but I'll try.
Yeah, no, with Tim.
Yeah.
It's 1 in the morning, you've come back with him.
In that way, yeah.
And suddenly you're brought in here.
I can't imagine that it would get the knickers flying off.
Uh-oh.
What have you got in there?
Porn. Seriously, it is. It's a whole bag of porn.
And maybe more.
Well, I mean, he's going to end up watching those because he ain't going to have a real girl thrashing around in that.
The truth is he's got a 60-inch plasma screen and about a 39-inch bed, so I reckon sex is probably a lot better on the telly for him these days.
Ex-girlfriend had a boob job paid for, which was a waste of money. 3,200 quid. Won't ever do that again. Because the girl dumped me after a week, after it being done. Managed to get back with her, so had a bit of usage.
Oh, look, it's his Italian course.
Yeah. He's learning Italian, isn't he?
Yeah.
He fancies Italy, even though he's never been there. Perhaps something, again, of his escapism theme in life.
Uh-oh.
What have you got?
May we remind you that the fees of £200 for 6 weeks commencing 2 months ago are now due.
Vuoi fare un passeggiata con me sotto la luna, bella?
Should we take this with us?
But the biggest shocker lurks inside Tim's bank statements.
Bounce checks.
40 quid
30
every
quid,
time.
Yeah.
That's 90 quid.
It's got to rack up, hasn't it? So should we take this off and have a good think about what we can do to help him?
Yeah, I think we should.
OK.
I guess they're going to see the hordes of cash that gets withdrawn. I can't really explain where the money's gone, but that That's just the Friday afternoon. Gets blown over the weekends.
A well-known player on the South End scene, club promoting earns Tim £200 a week and involves dropping off flyers to local shopkeepers.
Yeah, tonight.
Is it?
Yeah, up at the bar.
All right, fine.
Come around? Or...
Yeah, I'll pop down and see you.
But it's not long before drumming up trade becomes an excuse for just another spending spree.
Yeah, he likes to spend his money and I like taking it. That's how it works, isn't it?
I was in his shoes. I think I would have burst by now. I don't know how he's handling it, really. It will really do my head in.
Our friends always call him a lovable nightmare, which we think sums him up.
Because he does owe quite a lot of people money. He owes me quite a bit of money now.
Including the horrible VAT, that little lot comes to £43.50.
Right, OK. So we are short 20 quid, maybe?
Probably about, well, it'll be nearly 2,000 since he's moved in.
Tim's biggest debt is to Dad, Richard, a retired insurance broker director.
It's about 30 grand.
I suppose it's like gambling. You shouldn't release money unless you know you can afford to lose it.
Tim's dad tries to keep a grip on his son's wayward finances.
When does that go to? Dad normally gets involved.
And the money rows are a constant source of tension in their relationship.
I really have had enough today.
Just have a look through later on.
They say that if you haven't got the money, you shouldn't go out.
Tim gets paid £200 for hosting a weekly club night, but his earnings usually end up behind the bar.
I like to buy things for people. Obviously, I think I've spent more than I can afford on girls.
Tim's taste in women has also left him out of pocket.
He enjoys the girls that he meets at the clubs and who like a good social life like he does, really. And perhaps giving them the impression he'd got a lot more money than he had, you see. Good meals and drink weekends in Paris. But Tim's hedonistic bubble is at bursting point. Mum and Dad are refusing to bail Tim out again, and the debts are piling up. A plough through Tim's paperwork points to two key weaknesses. Tim splashed out buckets on chilled champagne. And though it might be good to talk, with monthly mobile bills of up to £400, Jay and Benjamin are kicking off Tim's 5-week plan with a shock tactic.
Waste.
Yes.
I do hope, though, seriously, when he comes and actually visually has this impact of what he's wasting his money on, that it might start to register.
One hopes.
But,
not often you see
well,
that.
We'll soon see.
Here he is.
Hello, Tim.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Great.
Nice to see you. Now, have a look.
Have a look at this, Tim. This is £5,700 worth of champagne. This is what you spend in a year on champagne. And this is the kind of stuff that you're dishing out at nightclubs via your credit cards and cash and back pocket and etc. And how do you feel about it when you look at it all straight up like that?
It's a waste. It's a lot there.
Yeah? Well, that's something we can work on over the next few weeks, do you think?
Yeah.
OK.
Now, I want you to turn round, because if that isn't bad enough, come and have a look at this. Each one of these phones, all the way up here, represents £1 that you've spent on mobile phone bills in the last year. £3,623. So have a walk up there and see how much you really need to think about using that phone every day.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, ready to rethink mobile phones?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. What a waste. What a waste of money.
Think again before you pick up your mobile phone.
Lovely job. I think we can do a lot of good work with Tim.
Shock tactics over, it's time to rein in those evil excesses.
So Tim, we've got back together today to chat through with you how much money you actually spend and to think about going cold turkey on that. So how much do you think that you spend on non-essential items in 1 week?
This is after you've paid for your rent and after you've paid for your bills.
100 quid.
Yeah? That's what you reckon?
100 quid a week.
Well, we've had a good look through your actual financial records. We've come up with a different number.
Right.
It's actually £575 a week.
Right.
Now, that is this much money.
Every week.
Every week.
Which is quite a lot when you're thinking it's 100 and
Yeah.
another
Okay.
475 is almost completely unaccounted for.
We're going to ask you to come up with a number that you think you can live on for a week, and it's the absolute bare minimum. We would like you to suggest that. What do you think that could be?
Right.
Not including rent, bills.
Well,
What?
150.
But you already said that you only spend £100 a week, so when we ask you to cut it down to the bare minimum and you then say 150, that sounds a bit odd, doesn't it?
Gone up. 80 quid.
Well, that's a nice round
Might
number.
be.
I think maybe we
Might be
could
able to do it.
shave it off a bit, because the idea is it is a cold turkey.
Right.
So you're really supposed to
okay.
miss everything except the things that will keep your body and soul functioning.
Right.
Maybe even forget the soul, just keep your body going.
Yeah. OK, maybe 60.
You're getting there.
I don't think we can go down any more than that.
No, well, we could go down as far as 50, and that would probably just about do.
50 quid.
Yeah, really squeeze you dry. During that week, you'll really notice what you care about missing and what you don't. And this will be information that we'll take forward in trying to devise a budget for your future.
OK.
That's
okay,
the idea.
Then. Yeah.
That is going to be your budget for the week. No credit cards, no borrowing from mates, no putting on store credit, nothing like that. Here is £50 in £5 notes to make it look like more.
Thank you.
Spend it wisely, Tim.
Okay.
And don't lose it, Tim.
50 quid in the week is fine as long as I don't go out. The £50 will cover the petrol and food in the week, and that's it. But the only way to keep it in that 50 is not to go out, basically.
It's Monday, and Tim's doing the first 24 hours of his cold turkey budget.
In the week I'm working, so if I avoid shopping or going out in the evening, then really it can be done.
Is that all the wood up? Yeah?
Tim's using a dictaphone to keep track of where his £50 is going. And so far, it's not too bad.
Yeah, 8 quid on petrol. What do we get, right? Bacon sandwiches, isn't it? Yeah. Bacon sandwiches and a bit of lunch.
But he's less optimistic about living on a shoestring over the weekend, especially when compared to last week's activities.
Went to Brown's for a couple, and then went to Stringfellows. Bought a lot of Perrier and Stringfellows is 65, 75. Mark and I went halves, so it wasn't all me. When I'm out on a night out, and that's when I let myself go, really. That's where the money goes. I've just bought a newspaper and sausage roll, a couple of packs of crisps.
How much?
£3, £2.36. Yeah, not a lot of money, is it?
It's surprisingly easy to drop the meals out.
We would normally go out saying a week, really. 30 quid each. This is costing about 5 quid or something, 4 quid.
But he's less keen on ditching another little luxury.
Oh yeah, the cleaner came round, so that's £30, which is money well spent, because, well, it is really, isn't it? Come on, it's cleaning the whole flat, doing all your washing. It's that or do it yourself. You're working all day and out all weekend, you haven't got time to do it, have you?
Halfway through the cold turkey, and psychological coach Benjamin Fry gives Tim a pep talk in playing it straight.
OK. I'd like to encourage you really to be a bit more open and honest about the spending and about the actual state of the bank account.
Yeah, it's overdrawn. It's 1,500 overdrawn.
Because, you know, we did actually look at your recent bank statements and not all your cheques have gone through. You probably know that.
Yeah, I wrote the cheques because if I didn't write the cheques, the jobs wouldn't have got finished.
Do you have the money to buy what you need to finish this one job?
Not really, no.
Not really?
No, I need about 200 quid or something.
Yeah. Let me ask you something then, Tim. Given that you need 200 quid to finish a job, to get the money in, to clear your overdraft, what were you doing in Stringfellows on Saturday night?
This Saturday, Tim's on cold turkey, but it's looking like he can't survive without his weekend splash of the champagne lifestyle.
Saturday, so it's a week Monday that I've spent over 50 quid, just over. Yeah.
Just over.
Well, quite a bit over, really, thinking about it, because of last night. But if we hadn't gone out last night, then I wouldn't have done that, would I, Mark? Well, 25 quid in Pescator, and then we ended up coming back here till 7 in the morning.
And it's not long before Tim's regretting his previous blowouts.
That was ridiculous, it really was. How much money did you do last night, Mark?
Not that much, really.
80 quid?
I don't know.
I spent 80 quid.
I don't know, you've probably done more than me last night. I didn't do that much, 50 quid or something like that.
I've got the rounds, I've got loads of rounds in there.
I don't know, I haven't got a clue.
Can't you remember that?
No.
80 quid. Bloody stupid. Tonight, I'm going to take it easy tonight.
Yeah.
But will Tim's resolve survive a Saturday night working the club?
Michael! How do you doing? Go on.
For the second night in succession, Tim has busted the cold turkey budget and given it a right good stuffing.
He ends up spending most of his wages over the bar. The worst that he's rung up, probably £500 at the top of my head, from what I can remember, I think.
I've heard that he is a big spender. But that's a lie.
Yeah, spending, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to go out and spend some money. When he goes out, he doesn't think about money. He just goes out and thinks about having a good time.
Spends money like he's like tomorrow, yeah. Basically.
Yeah, it's his favourite boot job. That's a fact, not what I know. I know that. We know that.
Whereas we might stop and think, oh, we've had enough, we've done too much money, that's it. He doesn't think about that, he thinks about where he can go next and where the party is.
No, he just knows how to have a good time, really. I mean, that's the end of it.
Loves spending his money, so he'll spend money on the first person he sees. Will say, hello, who are you? Who are you? Have some champagne, and end up buying Cristal for them, and then buying another bottle 10 minutes later.
I owed someone some money for a while, and he doesn't normally come here, but he came here tonight, and I've covered it with the bottle of champagne. Just the one bottle of champagne. The one on the last one.
It's promised us another bottle when we go back.
I like to see his credit card bill, that's all I have to say.
So how's Tim feeling about his lack of resolve on the cold turkey budget?
The budget's out the window. There's no budget tonight. It's all gone out the window, hasn't it? Unfortunately, I must have spent 130 quid on drink.
Too much silly, lads. Too much gear.
Despite the regrets, Tim's still looking to party on.
It's all over now, isn't it? Any parties anywhere or? No birds.
Jay and Benjamin have sussed out Tim's home life, shocked him with his overindulgence, and sent him cold turkey. Tim cut down on spending in the week, but couldn't give up the weekend expensive partying. Benjamin Fry is a self-help author and entrepreneur. His personal experience of therapy has suggested to him that most people's problems in the present could come from unresolved issues in their past. This makes him think that Tim's financial problems might stem from something much deeper.
I do think that Tim has not done terribly well on his cold turkey. And therefore, it's time to look at what might be the real reasons underlying his spending habits. I do know that Tim was adopted, and also that he didn't have a particularly easy time in his school days. And I see there possibly some indication of themes of self-worth, which maybe he's acting out on now with money. What are the kind of things that historically have derailed you from doing the right thing? Because if you think about in the past when you thought, oh, I'm going to do the right thing next week,
well,
what takes you away from that?
Deep down, I reckon it's because I wonder whether I ever will make enough money. So I spend it when I've got it. I still don't know whether I will ever achieve what I want to achieve.
That's interesting. I'm thinking that maybe underneath that is also something, maybe from like earlier in your life or your childhood or your adolescence, where other people didn't make you feel like you were successful or worth something, or I don't know, how was it at school for you and things like that?
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Was it?
Yeah, I went to boarding school in the end.
Oh, did you?
Badly dyslexic. So.
Dyslexic. So you went through some very painful years when people were saying to you basically that you're worthless. You can't do what the other kids can do. And it started to become a reality that you carry inside you. Do you think that maybe some of the behaviour in your adult life is a kind of escape from these sort of difficult feelings from the past? When the night's really swinging and the champagne's flying and the girls are around and your mates are smiling and everyone's happy and you're at the centre of that, do you think that in that moment you're free of all those years of people who were just slagging you off? Yeah. I think so.
That's it. That's the freedom.
But it's a freedom.
Isn't it? There's nothing.
It's a freedom.
Morning, it's all back again.
Yeah. It's a freedom from yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
From those difficult feelings from the past.
That's it.
But I'm also wondering about the family, because often things that happen later in life echo experiences in your infancy or early childhood. Now, I'm just wondering, because you were actually adopted, and your sister was adopted too.
Yeah.
Is it all right if we talk about that a bit?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, being a strain on mum and dad, money, and boarding school was expensive, and still a hassle as it now. 30 years old. But I think what's really important from that is that I get the idea you connect being adopted and being a strain on your parents to mean like, it's not as if I'm even their natural child, so why should I be such a bother to them? I mean, do you think that sometimes? Definitely. Because they spent money on you to go to boarding school because you were dyslexic, which incidentally was not your fault. It's not your fault you were dyslexic, and it was their choice to spend the money. So I would have thought at this age I would have achieved a lot more. Yeah.
But you've achieved more than some people.
Yeah.
And you've survived a lot of difficult things. And what I see here is that whatever you do, however successful you'll be, you'll think it's not enough.
Yeah. How do we combat that then?
Well, I'll tell you how we combat it. We have to actually be honest about the original issues. And I think you'll find that if we can look at where the impulse to believe that you're worthless comes from, if we can look at that honestly and directly, there'll be less need to use money as a cipher, as a metaphor. And you might actually find you can concentrate on your business without the emotional pressures from this like bubbling volcano of feelings being played out in that way.
Yeah. Ben was saying was quite shocking stuff, really, with the reasons why I do spend all the money I earn. I think he did have a point, and what he said did make sense, but I just wasn't really. I didn't like it really.
For the first time, Benjamin's got Tim thinking about the underlying reasons behind his spending, and it's proving tough. Now it's up to lifestyle expert Jay to fix a long-term budget to lower the debts.
So Tim, what we've got here is your new budget, okay? We've looked at the current expenditure, we've broken it down into simple areas, and we've got here the recommended expenditure. And the first thing we're just going to look at is the rent, because you've been paying Mark $5.50 a month, haven't you? And I just wonder whether there's some alternatives we could be looking at, sort of flat shares. You could possibly get something for about £350 a month, which would give you a saving of £200 a month, which we could well do with, because as we start to go down the list, clothing and footwear, you've been spending about £800 a month.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to suggest that we cut this right back to £350, and maybe what we explore is some different areas of how you can spend and where you can spend it.
Oh, okay.
So entertainment here, grand finale, you've been spending £850 a month, and we're going to take £350 off of that. Where does all that money go?
It goes, doesn't it? God, expensive clubs and drinks, I guess.
Is it, do you reckon?
Drinking, yeah.
What percentage of that £850 is drink, do you think?
75.
Really?
Yeah. In the discos, yeah.
So maybe we could look at teaching you a bit more about wine, making you more knowledgeable, because at least then you're going to be aware of, you know, do I want to spend my money on this, rather than, oh God, panic, let's just chuck money at it to solve the problem.
Good idea.
So the 3 areas we're going to look at to cut down is going to be accommodation, somewhere where you're going to feel a bit happier, somewhere where you could save a bit of money, clothing, looking at maybe different ways to allocate that money rather than just immediately going for the labels, and also the entertainment.
That could be dealt with just having a nice girlfriend. Then I won't go out as much as I would if I didn't have a girlfriend. So, and the spending in the clubs is where the money goes. So
yeah,
that would save considerable money having a girlfriend.
Would it seriously change your lifestyle?
I think the right girlfriend would
help the budget.
It's a week and a half into the 5-week plan. With Tim still waiting for the elusive girlfriend, Jay's tackling an area she can do something about: the £800 a month Tim spends on clothes.
So, when you're shopping normally like this, where is the debt problem and the debt total in your mind?
Blank.
Right.
Think about it.
So when you come into a shop, you are Tim with money in your pocket, and debt is just not the concept.
That's it.
OK.
If Tim's going to cut his clothes spend by £450, Jay needs to rack up cheaper alternatives to the designer labels.
Those are quite nice. I mean, see that? I quite like these innocuous logos, things that can't label you, that are maybe fun. Nobody's going to know who's made it by looking at some of these. And if you can sort of start to like those rather than designer names branded across the front, then, you know...
Nice.
See, I think that's really nice. Do you keep a running total in your hand? Have you got a mental tally of how much?
Not really, no.
So by the time you get...
I won't get the calculator out.
But by the time you get to the checkout desk, when they say that's £84.50 or that's £854, you're just like, oh, all right, whatever that total is, you haven't clocked it beforehand.
Don't add it up.
Right, OK. The other thing to think about, when you get to the end of your shopping trip, always try and drop one thing. So if we were looking at your selection here, and I said, OK, let's drop one, which one would it be?
Drop that. Hi.
Hello, how
you doing?
All right.
5 items for how much?
30 quid.
Well done, you see, keeping a tally.
To keep Tim on the straight and narrow, he's sticking to the cash-only budget.
Does it feel weird getting cash out?
Yeah.
It's definitely more real.
Your £5 change.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Tim's used to dishing out £800 a month on designer items. But with his budget cut to $350, he's having to learn to cut back fast. And today he's exceeded even Jay's expectations and spent a meagre £35. Jay's tackling the budget, but it's up to Benjamin to address Tim's issues of low self-esteem. He thinks the causes stem from Tim's childhood, so he's meeting up with Mum and Dad.
And he did actually talk about the adoption.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, it's brilliant that he's talked about it, because each time we have raised it, which isn't very often, I don't want to know.
There's a lot of pain.
We have tried. No, he hasn't. We have tried to tell him, and he has never wanted to know. And he's always known, as his sister has.
Yeah.
When they got to 18, if they wanted to try and trace their families, we didn't have a problem with that, and we'd help.
That's very kind of him.
But neither of them have done anything about it.
Yeah. And the other thing I think about the money, I think maybe I'd like Tim to get together with you and talk about it.
I mean, I have done what I can do when it comes to doing the tax returns and
Do you do all that for him?
Well, I get everything together to give to his accountant because it's never in an orderly fashion. You know, I say, well, this is straightforward. You know, write it down in the book every day what you spend and keep the invoices here. But he's not organised, and when you keep repeating it, he really needs a business manager.
Yeah. Well, maybe now that he's 30, it's time to have a more adult relationship than adult child, and I think that's what you've obviously been doing anyway, where you say, I can't give you any more, and you've really got to learn anyway. So let's support you in other ways. There seemed to be some tension between him and his father, and I think that naturally when he's lent him money that can occur, but I also think that emotionally the connection is possibly not as good as it could be, and I'd like to encourage him to do some work on that relationship.
We never have a normal, father-son relationship. It's just always something to be sorted out or something to be paid off, or he makes a fuss about things and panics about things that aren't worth panicking around. It's just like, it's nothing to do with him at the end of the day. I'm 30 years old, it's down to me, isn't it?
Just thinking about his relationship with his dad is enough to bring Tim down. So no surprises how he perks himself up again.
You can't really tell it's second-hand, can you, really? Now, how much have I paid?
You paid
500 quid, wasn't it? Yeah. Right, so, OK, another 500, yeah?
Yeah,
The old checks. Look. You know what it's like, lads. There's a couple of other things came up and I just was, Oh, God, Daddy won't be happy. We won't be telling him. We won't tell him that. I'll just go round there once.
With Tim halfway through his 5-week plan, Benjamin and Jay team up to review his progress. Or rather, lack of it.
What do you think about Tim's progress? I have to say I'm slightly sort of wished it had been a bit more.
Yeah, I think he's a bit resistant, isn't he? And I think he's throwing up a lot of obstacles which maybe are real, but maybe a smokescreen for his reluctance to deal with some of the deeper issues in his life.
I think the whole sort of having a foot in each camp with the gardening and the club actually is a very, very useful device to stop him committing to either one, but also he's always can blank out half of that, or I needed that for that.
It's like a sort of chaos is his natural state of mind. And I wonder if that's a way that he avoids looking at deeper issues like stability and what that really means, given his background.
The option of living with Mark means he's going to continue to be in an environment where he's spending too much to try and keep up with the lifestyle that he's emulating. Renting his own place, 1-bedroom flats round here, go from about $400 a month, but they tend to be unfurnished, so he is going to have to invest in buying some furniture, and obviously he is going to be responsible for paying the bills himself.
Yeah, that could be a problem, because he's been having trouble paying bills from things that are already existing, let alone buying new ones.
Another option, moving in with a friend. Maybe a friend, not like Mark,
a
who's got a
different
regular job. I'm talking about sort of a regular flat share with people who hold down jobs, come in and out at regular times, have a fridge stocked with things, sort of home comfort.
So if we can really help him to choose a career path, choose a place to live and make some long-term plans, then maybe with backing him up, with help on how that will affect him psychologically, we might have a chance of pulling him through that. I have to say, right now, it doesn't look great. It's not going that well.
Jay and Benjamin think moving out of Mark's expensive flat would help Tim keep within his budget. So there's a trip to see what's within reach on the private rental market.
OK, Tim, so this is the flat, this is the lounge that you're in now. It's a nice, spacious room.
Not bad size.
So, Tim, do you feel like this could represent what you want to be saying about yourself?
No, not really.
No, you're not keen on it?
You look really, really uncomfortable in here.
Doesn't give you a good vibe, then. I can see from your face that you're not really visualising your stuff here and you here.
He's visualising getting out, aren't you? Yeah. You're visualising leaving now.
Have you wanted to leave the moment we came through the door?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a great sign, is it?
With Tim shirking at the privately rented flat, Jay and Benjamin opt for Plan B, sharing with someone else. In this case, someone who knows a very different side to wild man Tim.
I already feel happier here.
It's very, I must say, it's very relaxing here. Look at your body language. Oh, you've got your tea, settled in, happy as Larry.
There's a little smile on his lips. Look.
So, Rebecca, would you seriously consider Tim moving in here as a tenant?
Well, I've said to him before, more than welcome to come and live here, but no party lifestyle.
Right.
Because I don't want to have, like, a Saturday evening at 2 o'clock in the morning, the whole front door bursting open, full of people, and drinking champagne.
Funny that.
What I think about this arrangement is that he feels at home in this sort of environment. And there's a part of Tim that's trying to be like Mr. Cool out there in all the clubs with all the parties. There's also very important parts of him that I learned about from his family and from friends like you. That's actually just the sweetest guy on the block.
That isn't Timothy, really, to be fair. Timothy's definitely more relaxed when he comes around here. I've cooked him a meal, maybe on a Monday or a Tuesday evening, and he's watching a DVD on the television, and that is the real Timothy.
Even though he'd hate to pretend that that was the sort of thing that he'd get up to on a Friday night.
He wouldn't want all the other girls in Southend to know that side of Timothy, I don't think.
So you think he has a choice to make moving forward of where he's going to spend his time and attention?
Definitely,
right?
If he wants to concentrate on his landscape gardening, I think that he needs to be in a sort of a more settled environment. Yeah, exactly.
Good for business, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because what's the point if he's having to get up at sort of 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to do his landscaping and he's actually not gone to bed that evening?
Yeah.
Because him and his party lifestyle.
So, Rebecca, how much is it a month?
Well, we have discussed this, and I said £300, including bills, per month.
That seems very reasonable.
That seems really fair. I mean, Tim, you're paying $5.50 a month at the moment at Marks, and you're having to cough up for a cleaner as well.
Yeah.
So, can you give me one single reason, because I can't understand it, why you haven't taken Rebecca up on her offer and you're not here already with your suitcases, moved in the spare room?
Yeah, but there isn't no reason why not.
So when are you going to go home and tell Mark then?
Well, that's a tell him tonight.
Tonight?
Decisive.
Keen.
Rebecca, very good. I think it's going to be a good influence on him,
you're
Rebecca.
a blooming good influence.
1 week on, and Tim's reconsidering his snap decision to move to Rebecca's. But he has started making moves to win round his dad. He's paid back £500 and set up this special guided tour of his recent landscaping.
So this is your latest project then?
It's the last one, yeah.
Pleased with it?
Looks nice, isn't it?
It's stunning, and I think what was there before.
Yeah, crazy paving on there.
It's the first time Tim has tried to patch up the damage his debt has done to their relationship.
Yeah, I think we should go out and have a drink and stop all the moaning. And there's always something to moan about, isn't there, when I come in?
Well, yes, I know, but...
yeah, about nothing. We should stop the moaning.
Just trying to keep on the straight and narrow. It's, not criticising.
Yeah.
Nothing I'd like more than for you just to go off and do your own thing and not bother me again, or not...
Yeah.
I mean, see you on a regular basis, but not to be a financial burden on anybody else.
Yeah.
What we don't want to do is have a go at you every time you come in the door.
Yeah.
I'm probably getting too involved, but it's only because, well, we both care.
Yeah.
But obviously, Mum gets upset if we continually bickering, but it's not intentional. It's with the best of intentions, really. So, you've got some more jobs lined up?
Yeah, some other jobs lined up. Start the London job on Tuesday, and finishing the one off at the moment. Brian's finishing that one off.
So will they be finished by Christmas, do you think?
Yeah.
The London jobs?
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
That should give you a little bit more of a cushion financially, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and there'll be some money on the North London job for you.
Oh, that's good.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah. Had this made from a this factory walkway, you know. It's good stuff, isn't it? Could have made it into a planter, or
so
just decked.
Where did you get the idea for this? You've not done anything like that before.
Well, I wanted it to be the same level so that it could still be used as just a deck.
No, I think it's a very soothing sound, the water.
And that was made that out of a template, which we gave.
Any fish in there?
No.
No?
No.
It's a chance for Richard to offer some fatherly praise.
Well, this is very impressive. The lights and I think they're very good, very unusual. Must look very good at night time.
Yeah.
In the dark.
Little spots in there.
Yeah.
All runs and all.
Yeah. So I think we'll have a New Year's resolution, right?
Less aggravation.
Yeah.
Right, okay then.
But, you know, we're willing to help, provided you learn from it and you go forward.
Yeah, that's all right.
We'll shake hands on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, use resolution then.
Okay.
Okay. Look, this is excellent.
Tim's made the first awkward steps to bridging the divide with his dad. While Benjamin's advice has started to address Tim's psychological triggers, lifestyle expert Jay is planning on cutting Tim's £850 entertainment budget by almost half. So it's a lesson on what his eye-watering bar tabs are actually getting him.
I mean, you are quite a fan, aren't you, of your champagne lifestyle?
Yeah.
How knowledgeable would you say you are when it comes to ordering, you know, a decent champagne or a decent wine?
I'll just pick, an expensive one. Make out that I know the one I'm picking.
That amount of money means it's going to be okay.
Got to be a good one, yeah.
And is it generally?
I don't know. I don't think so.
The success rate isn't quite as high as it could be. Now, I know you've asked Rebecca, haven't you, to come and meet us today? Because what I thought might be quite nice is if we all go to a wine tasting.
Right.
So it's got an Italian slant today, which I know will please you.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe if we do that and start increasing your knowledge of other alcohol rather than just champagne, it might start to open up another world for you.
What we're going to do today is take you through some of the more cultured side of Italian life. The wine. Yeah. Fine. There we are. A little bit of fizz for you. It's not a full fizz. It's not like champagne.
Bit of a champagne expert here, Tom.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, good. If you go to Italy, you can get wines made in the champagne method using the same grapes. They're about 2/3 of the price of a bottle of champagne. Just as good. I'll try you on a Chianti now and give it a swirl, and that releases the volatile elements. Then stick your nose and have a good sniff. Now, does that have a good sniff? Does that smell like wine?
That smells like wine, yeah.
Well, that's it. That's in good condition. Really, if you just smell the wine and it smells like wine, the odds are it's good. Right. This is good quality schmutter. Probably cost you retail for round about £14 a bottle.
So, Tom, if you're in a restaurant and a bottle of that is on a wine list, what would you be looking at paying?
For a good Reserva 1999. Probably somewhere in the region of £50–60 a bottle.
So the markup is huge.
Markup is huge.
Yeah.
Let's try this wine from the south of Italy now. You see that smells completely different.
Yeah, I prefer the smell of that one to that last one.
It's slightly riper.
Not as strong as it.
Yeah, that last one was very strong.
Riper fruits, isn't it? Still black fruits, more berry, but still quite ripe.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice, yeah. The slightly different flavours. Because you've not got the same grape variety.
I think I prefer that one actually.
Well, I think southern Italy is an area that's really showing a lot of improvement. And this will retail for around about £7–8, but half the price of that, I would think.
But also, what's interesting is that you're, looking down the list and thinking, right, £60 means it's got to be okay.
Yeah.
You're ordering it, and if you're honest, it's not your favourite wine at all.
No.
So it's kind of like judging on whoa, it's that expensive, it must be okay. But then you're not getting the full enjoyment out of it. So you could be choosing something a lot cheaper if you knew a bit more, and probably something that you'd like a bit better.
Yeah.
Benjamin's got Tim to start healing the rift with his dad, while Jay's devising tips for cutting Tim's clothes and alcohol budget. But despite all the help, and with just 1 week remaining in the 5-week plan, Tim hits crisis point. The bank have given him 24 hours to pay off his overdraft, while Tim's labourers want their wages. In desperation, Tim's resorting to a loan shark.
I'm just about to borrow some money off someone. Yeah. To try and sort this problem out.
How much?
That's 700 quid. 700 squid. Cheers, Dad. Thanks, man. Yeah.
With the interest on the loan set at £150 a week, it's not surprising that Tim's thoughts turn to ways of escaping.
My ambition is to emigrate to Italy and set up a life in Italy and live and work away from England and Essex and all the shenanigans that go on. Just the country appeals to me, really.
Tim's able to pay his labourers, but his big dreams are slipping out of reach. Even worse, he's losing all grip on his finances. What's going wrong?
I did bring up with him some very difficult emotional issues that he's really not used to considering. Sometimes when that happens, people can run away and things can get worse before they get better.
What's going on, mate?
Benjamin plans to shift the focus of Tim's recovery by addressing the issue of his professional life.
I've worked in the nightclub business myself, and I've seen an awful lot of people not do terribly well. I've also seen a lot of kind of lifestyle casualties in it. And I do think that Tim is in danger of falling into those kind of groups.
All right, mate. Bye.
Now, today I want you to come and meet a guy who actually promotes a club up in the West End. Quite successful, and I want to see if we can get some tips from him about how to run your business more professionally. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Come on then. So, Tim, here we are with Paul from Kinky Malinky, as you know, one of London's most successful promoting outfits. I think it's a good chance for you to try to figure out the difference between having a good night out and actually making a good living from a night out.
Yeah.
One of the things I imagine it must make a big difference to that profitability of the night is actually how much money you have to spend as a promoter entertaining people in the club. I know that Tim spends quite a bit of money on hosting, effectively, his own night. I'm wondering, what's your experience of that? How does that go for you?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to be socialising and looking like you're enjoying it. A lot of the time for me, I'm usually stressed out running around, you know, making sure everyone's happy, making sure everything's running smoothly. I tend not to get sucked into the trap of standing at the bar, trying to buy champagne and, you know, sort of entertaining everyone.
That's where I get stuck.
Paul can earn £1,000 a time from throwing these parties. That's 5 times more than Tim.
Obviously, you need to weigh up whether you want to spend all your profit on the club's bar or whether you want to, you know, actually make some money and keep progressing with the promotion. And I mean, you can get in a position where if everyone wants to get in the club for free, they could be buying you champagne all night.
That'd be a real success, wouldn't it? If you learn how to get other people to buy the drinks, that would probably solve everything, wouldn't it? Some of the attributes that Paul talked about bringing to his work are things that Tim does seem able to bring to his landscape design work. And I do think it'd be nice if Tim could see that there's a future in that maybe just isn't there under any circumstances in nightclub promoting. And I hope that I can do something to help him come to that realisation on his own.
A few days after the visit to the big-time promoter, Benjamin wants to see how it's affected Tim, who's finding that getting real with his chaotic finances is really hard work.
One of the things I want to really ask you about is how you're doing since we saw that club promoter, Paul, up in London. I wonder how you felt that all went.
Yeah, it was good. He knew his stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I've been in a similar situation to him, but I haven't took it to the level he's took it to. But it's probably too late now for me to, you know, to achieve what he's achieved. So.
Yeah. Maybe you've been distracted in the past because you never quite know which area you're focusing on. What do you think about
Well, that's right. Yeah, one or the other, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do you feel generally? Seem a bit down?
At the moment, we're not very good at the moment. Need to get back to work.
Yeah.
Jobs to be finished and things to be covered, and things are sort of not being paid off, and it's just spiralling out of control now, to the point of, you know.
It's getting really difficult.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think it's also hard to look at all these issues at the same time as having the issues?
Yeah, at the same time with that, yeah.
Because we have been forcing you to be really quite honest in the way that you look at your life.
Yeah.
And to see things that maybe before you could have just ignored. Things like how in debt you are, or whether you spend money on a Friday, need on a Monday.
Yeah.
And sometimes having all, you know, it's like putting a mirror up to your face and constantly keeping it there. And that can put quite a lot of pressure on you emotionally as well.
Tim is finally facing up to the amount of effort required to level his finances.
I think that after all this difficult time, it'd be nice for Tim to do something a bit more relaxing, and it'd be nice for him to get away a bit. I'm going to suggest to him that he takes a break, gets away from everything, and has a nice quiet space in which to reflect on everything that's happened, see if that can help him decide where he really wants to go with his life.
At Jay and Benjamin's suggestion, Tim's ending the 5-week plan with a weekend in Rome. At £200, it's less than half the price of a typical weekend at home. It's Tim's first trip to Italy, but he's long been a fan of Italian garden design. Will a change of scene help him reach some crucial decisions?
For some reason, I've been spending more money. I haven't had a lot of time to sort of realise what it's all about, really. I think that for the time being I'm going to spend as much as I can, because I know that I'll have to sort it out. Which doesn't really make any sense at all, but... is...
Instead of checking out the local nightlife, Tim's getting some inspiration for his gardening business. But will it help him choose between dance floors or garden decking?
Benjamin's given me one or the other as far as clubs or landscaping, so at the moment it's just landscaping, so concentrate with that for the moment. If you're doing a Mediterranean garden, that'd be nice, but I'm not sure whether you can leave them outside. This is quite an old-fashioned type of garden design. Formal is sort of the original garden. When garden designers used to always go with the formal thing. I've never done a formal garden. They're nice, but you've got to have quite big gardens to do it in. When Dad and I met in the garden, it was nice, but I think until I've paid a substantial amount of money back to him and I've sort of sorted myself out, the relationship isn't really going to improve, really. Not until that happens.
Tim spent nearly £2,000 in the last week on his monster lifestyle. Being away from the usual triggers is finally helping him spend far less.
It's good to be away, break away, and come back with a clear head. Last night we went out for something to eat and came back to the hotel. Whereas if I'd been in Southend, I'd have probably, well, I wouldn't have been. I'd still be up now, probably. It's not a bad thing being out here.
As well as practicing his Italian, Tim's found a new sense of resolve.
A little breakaway sort of got me thinking about how to sort it out. So I'm going to make an effort now, make some money and put it aside. I feel really focused now, so I'll get back on track now. A lot of people don't believe that I'll ever sort it out, but I'm going to prove them wrong now.
Their incoming is
back in England, and Tim's following through on his promises, meeting a financial advisor to rake over his gardening business plan.
It's just knowing what we've made, where we've gone wrong.
Yeah. It wouldn't be difficult to put together. It's not rocket science.
It's 2 weeks since Italy, and with several big gardening contracts underway, how is Tim doing after his financial makeover?
Wow, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Look at this. It's all go here.
Yes.
Blimey. Well done. Seen the board outside, looking very professional.
Yeah, and this is lovely. Look at this terrace.
Yeah, it's all going okay at the moment, yeah.
So not so many late nights out then?
No, I've been good.
Is this the way it's going to be now?
This is it now, yeah, just the landscaping.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant, well done.
How's your entertainment budget going? Because obviously when we first met, you were spending £800 a month on going out. I'm presuming that because you're now doing this job and Mr. Early Night and Sensible, that's kind of hit that on the head a bit.
Yeah, it has. I haven't been out on any mad nights. Didn't even go out on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's a big step forward.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I stayed in and watched the television.
So, Tim, what have you decided to do accommodation-wise?
Well, I'm not moving into Rebecca's.
Right, definitely decided
against that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
and I'm still at Marks, and I'm going to move into a one-bedroom flat myself.
Right. I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
How much is that going to cost every month?
475.
So still be cheaper.
Yeah.
Still be cheaper than Marks, actually.
Yeah.
So Tim, one of the things that I was hoping that would happen for you is that you could have a slightly closer relationship with your father. I'm wondering how that's gone.
Yeah, that's gone well.
Yeah.
And we don't sort of argue as much as we used to over things. He takes things more, understands the situation rather than sort of going mad about things.
Yeah. Financially, are you getting on better with him as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've paid him back the money, the small amounts of money that I've borrowed from him in the last sort of 2 months. So.
And you feel good about that?
Yeah, I feel good, and I shall pay some of the other bit off. And it, you know, it's going the right way.
So do you see that there really is a connection between kind of the emotional underlying universe that you're living in and, if you like, what you see of it, which is the financial chaos that goes on the surface?
Yes.
And so as long as you remember to keep the one and the other in balance, then you have a better chance of keeping control with your finances.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you now, and I really hope you're able to take forward some of these steps that you've made, because I think they're quite significant. I think the stuff you've done with your dad and with your family, and even with your friends, and just with yourself in terms of who you really want to be, is really, really accelerated development.
Yeah.
And I hope you don't drop the ball on that. I want you to stay with it
yeah.
and keep going.
Yeah, keep up what you're doing, Tim, because you have made great strides. And I know we better go because we'll be putting you behind schedule with Fen City. Good luck with it all.
Yeah.
It's a cracking start.
Yeah. Cheers, Ben.
Good luck, Tim.
Yeah.
See you again. Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Bye.